how they're done. You know, for me as well, like looking at Starzo not going to be playing on the Sova. On defense particularly, he does a lot of flank watch. Is that now going to be Keyless's job?
Only time will tell. And at the moment, flank watch rear guard being set up for Keyless. As they just move straight on into the B site. Very little resistance here on the defense from NAVI. ACEND able to start off with a plant. They haven't even had to invest the wall here. Not yet anyway. It looks like they are going to drop it towards the back now finally. That's going to prevent a lot of rotates. Great cover being found. And ACEND in a decent post plant, but Dino finds the first onto CNED. Zeke tries to challenge. There comes a cropper. And now around the corner, Bone Cold able to even things up. Dino goes down. The tailwind into the cloudburst isn't going to see them safe there. And ACEND rack up 3 quickly. Arch, the last to fall. And the first pistol goes to ACEND. They start off well on potentially Navi's stronger map.
I feel like that was a round that wasn't even necessarily like ACEND overstepped and they got really aggressive. It was more just like Navi handed themselves over to ACEND on a lot of those gunfights, which is unfortunate for them. And, you know, it's just the pistol round. It's not like it's going to necessarily define the entire rest of the game. We know that ACEND are pretty successful at their pistol rounds anyway. Not a huge surprise that it went that way, but probably could have gone a bit better for Navi.
I think the crucial factor there was that ice wall being able to be invested all the way towards the back of sight for ACEND. It meant that they stopped the majority of the rotates almost dead in their tracks. They were forced to try and use utility to get through, and it just didn't work. It just didn't happen for Na'Vi to be able to bust through that. So, I mean, all credit to ACEND, but it felt like Na'Vi just gave it away there. Shorty at that range, not going to work out. Bone Cold finds one onto Arch. Doesn't know there's a teammate around the corner, but the bullets to the side will give that away. It's not going to phase SSK though, as those bullets sent straight to the gut of Bone Cold.
Again, just pretty much total side control here for ACEND, and CNED's going to be landing a couple shots. We saw this in their game that they played against G2, particularly here on the A site, where as soon as you get him onto that site, he can just hold it. Keyless is going to be joining in with the fun as well, for once again, ACEND to just clear up with Na'Vi, take their second round. This is a really good start here for the European squad.
Absolutely. It's a really, really strong start. 2-0 though, it's still very much early doors on this to be getting on with. It's not the sort of thing that you can be letting lie. That was a nutty shot from CNED, but as, you know, fair enough. I mean, he's got the reputation he has for a reason. And now ACEND looks like they're going to buy into a Vandal over on the Viper. Not too much more, keeping CNED on that Sheriff. On the Marshal. To keep things ongoing at the moment, though. Arch gets first blood against Bone Cold. Drops the only Vandal they had. That's put into the hands of Zeke. Traded on over and traded off as well. Dino goes down. So no counter wall potential here. As it looks like B-site yet again on the cards. Arch will be the player to face here on the site. Knows where they want to be holding. And the reload has to come through. They know that it's pretty safe after the mag gets emptied. Keyless shuts it down as well. And now Na'Vi have to go for the retake with 3 if they want to go for it, that is. They're not really in the best spot to do it, but if they can find openings like that, maybe they just find something.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the attention for Na'Vi was being really split because of Zeke's position over in mid, but now that's been dealt with. Maybe they can get in, but not if Keyless is going to keep being on fire. We saw him pop off really in that previous round as well. It's a 2 versus 2 here, and time is ticking down. What is the likelihood that this is going to work out for Na'Vi? CNED just using the updraft, getting some information, but it's going to be Cloud landing the kill, Starzo to return, and you can hear time ticking down way too much. The last 2 kills taken for ACEND, and that's a 3rd round for them.
Starzo goes down there, I think rather needlessly, potentially a little bit of a misread on the timing, but loses the gun, loses the weapon. Should have been able to pick something up and save it. I think it might have been a Spectre in the hands, though, so potentially just needing to get a gun anyway to make the save worth it. Either way, they win the round, as you say. And that's going to go pretty well for them. They're going to have a little bit of a buy into this round, and more of a mini buy there for Na'Vi. They are going to drop in a couple of those Marshals, though. 3 on the boards. 4 on the boards.
Deploying drone.
Sure, I mean, why not? It's definitely interesting because it sort of locks you into a certain kind of play style, a certain range at which you can play. Really, it's just Cloud who has that option for short range. But, I mean, the first skill to be taken by SSK, so maybe it's going to work. I just worry it's going to be extremely limiting.
And there's the wall to cover off the lower ground there. Only Arch really a threat. Up the rope you go, and CNED knocks him down. Easy as whack-a-mole. Peeks him, sprays him, gets the job done. That's aggressive, and it's going to work out. CNED with a 4K. And NAVI left dismantled on the A.
You know, for most of the end of that round, I wasn't even watching the game. I was watching CNED's face, because does he smile? Does he ever get happy when he knows he's landed a 6 shot, or is it just so normal for him that he doesn't?
Emotions for the weak, Gio. That's just how it is.
He looked mildly inconvenienced. Look at him! He's just like,
Stone cold.
Another day at the office.
Steve
Look, he
Austin.
looked mildly inconvenienced. He's like, oh, get out of my way.
Steve Austin, eat your heart out. This is the new Stone Cold. Stone Cold CNED.
Literally. Bone cold and stone cold.
Oh, I like it.
Poison's off.
That tickles my wordplay giblies, that does. Goodness me. I like it.
Oh.
The less we say about that, the better, to be honest.
Yeah.
But CNED back on the hunt with the operator. Has got the blades as well. The Blade Storm is available. There's the res available as well for ACEND. They've got a lot of tools in their kit. At the moment, there's no lockdown for Dinks, which is really the massive difference maker for NAVI. Is that lockdown on the Killjoy, the agent that not available to ACEND.
I mean, they might be able to figure out Bone Cold's location here if that Killjoy utility does get triggered. It's not even needed. Dinks just gets the kill straight onto Bone Cold himself as the attackers start to move over towards A, and we've seen ACEND really pop off on this site so far, and Zeke is certainly going to be carrying on the tradition. They make their way
through.
in.
Oh, finally. CNED
30 seconds left.
mind away. The pick will be good. But going to get res straight back into the fight. Raid boss down, raid boss straight back up. And now they hold the A site to ransom. Looking for the post plants, and Cloud able to draw first. Zeke does go down, spotted up, playing close to the wall. CNED guards the cross, but gives it up. Has to fall back, fade away from that one. Stark Soap holding the doorway up the rope, looks to try and challenge towards the 2 from NAVI. And allows the player up on high to move on in. Cloud goes down to a body shot. SSK able to trade it. 1 for 1 so far, and now it's just CNED with it all to do, and the knives in tow. Needs to turn the corner, misses the shot, but stops the defuse. Will be able to get another shot moving around the corner, but it's that time! Did the defuse come through? I think it managed to happen. NAVI able to clutch the round. CNED a little bit too slow there. Still, characteristically, unfazed on the face.
I was just at the very end there. I was like, did it work? Did that actually happen? No way. He missed. And you know, I hate to say it, but that's a stationary target.
Yeah, I mean, you have to hit those knives, but I think it's the pistol that's really unforgivable for me there. CNED drops the ball. Oh, there we go. That is the politest desk hit I've ever seen.
I mean, I would very much feel the same as well, because there was a really good round for ACEND. NAVI again were being slow on the retake. They didn't have any Sova utility either, so they had no information to go by. All they had was the barrier orb, and ultimately that helped facilitate that retake. It was really kind of lucky for NAVI.
ACEND moving forwards with the Empress from Zeke. Looks to turn the corner. Arch finds it, gets the shot, but now they know where Arch is, and it's an easy triple turn. But here's the Hunter's Fury, and there's the Bulldog from Dino. The knives from SSK to thread it through, and the needle is going to be good. 2 rounds now on the board for NAVI, and ACEND on 4. Looking to try and pick up the pieces now.
There you go. That's all they needed. They just need that 1 round win to, like, boost themselves. And then just take the fastest round in the world on the the subsequent round, I suppose. I mean, you look at what both of these teams are going to be bringing to the table here, and it's pretty much entirely equal. I mean, you can be really picky and be like, well, actually, they have 25 more armor on the side of Ascend than they do on Na'Vi. But, I mean, ultimately, there's a bunch of utility that's been invested into. They have equal weaponry. So this is going to be a lot more even out here. Na'Vi, a little bit more richer for ultimates. They've already invested the Viper's Pit over towards green. But they've
Sensible
got a
fallback.
few more in pocket.
Yeah, sensible fallback there from SSK. To just go for a couple of shots and then immediately get back to safety. Fall away. You don't want to be giving up the gun here. Certainly not against Ascend, who know how to play this one. SSK gets value, but it's traded off twice over. Killer's able to double it. And there goes the Viper's Pit. Classic post-plant for Ascend here on the A site. Very difficult to deal with.
Do have a res on the side of Na'Vi. You have to, well, not anymore, maybe not. It's just Arch and Cloud who are remaining. And the man advantage very firmly on the side of Ascend here. This is going to be difficult for Na'Vi to break into. The Recon Dart trying to find some location that they can work with, but really nothing's been found, so they just have to try and shoot in through the Viper's Pit. It's very difficult, and you can already see them starting to back off. I mean, it's pretty much just going to work entirely against them. Doesn't surprise me that this is the option that they have taken. Arch is still going to be brought down regardless, but I suspect that Cloud probably be able to get away with his life and his dear Vandal.
Trying to channel his inner Cirrostratus and become thin and wispy and ethereal as ever.
What? Was that? Oh, it's a type of cloud.
That's a type of cloud for all of you cloud watchers out there. That was for you.
Well, I was going to be like, is that a type of cloud? Why is that relevant? And then I remembered that.
Although I suppose it wouldn't be Cirrostratus. You just want Stratus, straight up.
I don't know anything about clouds, John. I only know important
Well,
things.
I pity you. I pity you. I pity you for not knowing about clouds, because right now it's all relevant, Gio.
Is that the best you could come up with?
Look, you made fun of my cloud knowledge, and for that, I will never forgive you.
Well, you know what? Cloud in-game is more relevant than the clouds that are in the sky right now. Doesn't have a Hunter's Fury coming into this round.
Feeling pretty cumulonimbus right now.
Shut up, John. It doesn't have a Hunter's Fury, but the res and the lockdown, both of which didn't get to be used in that last round, they're of course going to be available here. You have to, of course, still be aware CNED still got the operator in hand, didn't get taken down in that last round, so he's been able to bring that one in for free. It's just slow.
For now, anyway. Really is slow. And I mean, this is what we talked about, Na'Vi being ready and waiting to capitalize on mistakes, and SSK ready and waiting to spot the skull of Zeke. And the res immediately invested, getting back to full force. They have got their Hunter's Fury as well. CNED dispatched, and Cloud finds a second. SSK triples up, and now two players stand. Starkso able to give them some respite. Still have that Hunter's Fury available. Still have the spike in their control as well. Wall available, goes on up, goes for the boost, but Cloud knocks it down. Now it's Killers in a 1 versus 3. Res available for Dino as well, should they need it. This is real good for Na'Vi, but there's the headshot coming through. Traded out, Dino gets the final. Na'Vi on 3.
I actually really liked what Ascend tried to do there. The place that they had CNED positioned at the start over in Nest, so that as soon as SSK dashed out, he would have been in the direct line of sight. It just so happened CNED missed the shot. And then I think also for Ascend, you know, you use your res onto Zeke and immediately CNED goes down. And we've seen in the previous rounds, the last time that the res was used by Ascend, they specifically used it onto CNED. So that wasn't an option in that round, even though it happened basically immediately after it got used and everything started to fall down around them. So nice for Na'Vi that they've been able to put another on the board, and we've seen something of a weapons downgrade for Ascend as a direct result. You know, not got the operator this time, just a classic over on Bone Cold as well.
SSK's been trying to get these sneaky picks, sneaky positions, but this time Ascend will be able to find that pick, find that opening over towards the A. And they gave them a tough time when they didn't have it, taking this A site, but in comes the lockdown, the major difference maker between these two teams, remember. Looking for the lockdown, and will be destroyed, actually, to stop any sort of presence that it may have had. CNED playing close behind the wall in a pretty known position, but still very difficult to deal with. Shots up top as well for Stark. So through the Viper wall, finds 3 on the round. 2 answered. for Na'Vi. Stoxo and Zeke both fall. Now 2 versus 3, trying to push in for this retake. Rez brings them back up to 3, but time is ticking away. CNED plays close, spots a player, finds one. Wall is invested as well as Dino shuts it down for CNED up top. Spray down through the gap, looking to try and stick this defuse. 2 players are alive, needs to find the angle. They stick the defuse. Dino is just going to make it happen, and Na'Vi again sneak it away. The win goes through, and it's 5-4.
Oh, yeah, but also the reload timing as well was really unfortunate at the end there. Oh, man, that was so disappointing. And, you know, also ACEND, they were trying to come up and take control of kind of boiler area, come up through mid, but Zeke, the Lear, didn't get anything. Instead, NAVI could successfully defend that, so it suddenly became one-dimensional, trying to push up through the A site alone. And NAVI, you know, given the control that they had and how close they already were in proximity to the spike and being able to get the defusal too, it was all very disadvantageous for ACEND at the end there.
Not the best of spots. It looked good at the start. Crumbled around their ears. Now they've got to rethink things just a little bit. Send putting their attention over towards the B site. They've got the knives for CNED. The Blade Storm is available, but it can be answered by SSK if they so choose. Looks like they're going to try and get a little bit more power on that ult. Starkso almost up to that res as well. We've seen Na'Vi basically give up this site before, and it looks like it's going to happen to start off. They try and burn through the wall, but the spike gets planted. This is a good start. Bone Cold has got that Vandal as well. A lot of one-shot, headshot potential coming through from this ACEND team. And with Starkso getting that plant, that's the res available, Gio.
Let's see if CNED can actually get anything with the Blade Storm without missing crucial shots like we saw last time. Again, as you say, Na'Vi being a bit more patient. The CNED does get taken straight down as they move back into the site. And now they can just push on forward. Starzo's trying to find something. He finds 2, in fact. Bone Cold on top of that as well. And Na'Vi have to respond. They do, of course. And they can get the defusal going as the snakebite begins to dissipate. And everything falls into their favor.
I mean, economically, though, that was a really decent round there coming through from ACEND. They managed to get a lot of guns out the hands of Na'Vi, and now they can start to buy up into this round. They have still got that res, they've still got that Blade Storm available as well, so they're looking pretty good. Look at that, Starkso top in the tables right now, 15 kills for ACEND. It looks like we're going to be staring down a timeout. I'd imagine it, I was going to say, I imagine it comes from ACEND here. CNED dropping the cash for an operator as well. And keeping things limited for Na'Vi, you can see that their wallet's down a little bit. They've been slimmed.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't surprise me that ACEND are taking their tactical timeout now. We even saw back on Breeze, like, the second they run into any kind of hardship, that's when they take them. There are certain teams that will wait until the very last minute, and they'll really push for a long time. ACEND will not hang around. They won't take that risk. And it's also always when something goes wrong at a time that would have previously gone right. So, for example, the way that Na'Vi have been defending the B site has been very reserved. They've kind of allowed ACEND to take a lot of space, and then they'll try and move in for some kind of a retake, which didn't really work in the earlier rounds, but in that round that we just had, it evidently did. And ACEND have looked at that and said, right, the thing that we were doing well before isn't working anymore. Now we need to reconvene. And that's the way that they approached it in Breeze too. It's the way they're approaching it here. So it doesn't surprise me that now is the time that they are doing that.
SSK moving forwards again, trying to get the better end of the trades, but it's Dino to open things up. They know the knives are coming through, though. They should be aware of that. A nice dash limits the number of knives available. Na'Vi have to fall back. They've been playing aggressive on A time and time again, so you've got to expect it. Gets pinged out. Will not take down that dart. And now, ACEND on their rifle round, down a player. Though SSK only has that frenzy. Turning the corner, Bone Cold looks for it. Arch is there looking for enemies. Trigger discipline. Waiting for his team to get in position. They need to strike at the right time, and exactly that happens. They move through. They're already on the site. Dink's able to find it, but the rest of the team is already there. No res available with Starkso going down that early into the round means that they just have to rely on their wits. No walls in sight. Zeke sprays down around the corner. Knows there's a player up on high. Tries to line it up, but the heal is good. Killer's able to get the advantage back in their favor, and now it's 2 versus 2 in the post plant. Very difficult to move on through here, but they do have, you know, with the heals coming back off cooldown soon.
Last player standing.
Unfortunate loss there down for CNED. That's going to mean everything is here on Tequila's. Gets one.
Standing ahead.
He can send out his dart, and because Cloud is on the spike, he does actually get spotted out. Now we put it in this tentative 1 versus 1. Keyless wins it out. Cloud goes down, and Ascend do indeed win the first round after their tactical timeout. It was an interesting approach from there. The way they almost acted as a human shield to make up for the fact that they didn't have a real, or a human wall to make up for the fact they didn't have a real wall. They pushed really far up and tried to hold on to those, even when there were just 2 of them, those couple of lines of sight, you know, up towards kitchen and then over where CNED was, just directly looking onto the spike location as well, because the idea there is that pretty much as soon as those players from NAVI start to encroach, you can always see them. Don't think they anticipated CNED going down when he did. There's still a great clutch there from Keyless. CNED is going to be adding on, though, providing some value in this next round.
CNED doing CNED things, able to land the flick shot there. SSK left wondering what the hell just happened. No res available, can't get back into the fight. Res available for Stark, so they've got the Viper's Pit now as well with that orb. They're just going to drop it. They want to get this last round. I mean, fair enough. Throw everything at the wall in this round because you need to invest it here. Bulldog, with the double spray, will be able to tap down Kilos. So Hunter's Fury gets invested by Cloud, looks to try and zone them away, finds Stark, so no res. So only the Viper's Pit on the ultimate's going to be left to stand. As there comes the Killjoy. They don't want to let this one get destroyed, and no shock darts there. Trying to stay away from the Owl Drone, will get spotted out, and that's really bad for Bone Cold, has to fade away. As the lockdown is going to come into effect, drops back, drops away, and now needs to challenge underneath it. With the Toxin going down, the reload's in good timing, and Bocold finds 1-2, but reloads himself. The judge is there, and now it's CNED in a 1 versus 1. Sniper versus shotgun as the res comes through. Bulldog back in play, has the angle, misses the shot. CNED now in a 1 versus 2. Looks to challenge and lines him up. It's a 2K for CNED, and he brings it back for Ascend. 7-5 on the half, and CNED, cool, calm, collected, ICEBOX is his.
What the hell was that? Oh my god. Wow, okay. That is not how I expected that end to go. And the way that NAVI actually used their utility really put it in their favor, because they had that Hunter's Fury early. I mean, yeah, let's just look at it again, because wow. Got them both in 1 shot, dude. Oh my god.
Nutty Gamer confirmed.
They used their utility really well. So they had that Hunter's Fury. They used the lockdown at a point where they knew it couldn't be taken down, because if you remember the previous time that they tried to use the lockdown, it actually immediately got taken down by the Hunter's Fury of Ascend. Well, but by this point, Kiles was dead. He didn't even have a Hunter's Fury in pocket anyway, so there wasn't something direct that they could do about that. And then, of course, the res, so that it made it into a 2 versus 1. And you know, we've seen in this game so far that CNED is human, and he can be brought down, and he can miss his shots, and he can be overwhelmed. So in theory, that should have actually worked pretty well. And then we learned that actually maybe CNED isn't human, and we were wrong. We were entirely mistaken, and he can just kill multiple people at once, because why not?
I mean, you know, it's one thing to be super smart with your utility, getting back into the fight. They're playing all these intelligent ways to retake the site, but, you know, CNED has yet to meet someone that can outsmart a bullet, and it seems like 2 of them in 1 is going to be the way that things are going to go. And yeah, I mean, fair enough. That was a clutch round, and by all rights, that was Navi's round to win. So they should have been able to take this half even. But as it stands, now Ascend move over to the defensive side, Gio.
Yeah, just, yeah, I mean, Navi. You know what? It's not the end of the world. Like, 7-5 is really not that bad. Like, I was just thinking in my head, like, wow, that was kind of brutal. But actually, it's not the end of the world. However, we did see on Breeze, the 6-6 didn't mean all that much. We'll just see what Navi can do in return. Ascend had a really good pistol round back in round number 1. Are they going to be able to repeat it here?
Well, they've already got the first pick onto Dino as well, which means that damage will stick if they're able to tag up any of the Navi players as they encroach. In the mid seems to be their first port of call. A site pretty stacked right now on the defense, so opting to branch out that way might be pretty tricky. You can see Killjoy for NAVI in position, but so CNED spots a player, jumps around and lines him up. Kilos is there for the backup as well, and that's 2 more kills to be found. Cloud trying to strike down the tube, but really not going to go well. Starkso. Oh no. Oh no. You can't be winning those. Dinks, you can't make that happen. CNED now at range in a 1 versus 4 as well against Dinks. They're just going to have to try and make the challenges happen. CNED tries to bait the shots out, tries to bait Dinks into peeking. It seems like Dinks has better game sense than that. CNED just falling back, letting the rest of the team run into the crossfire.
Oh no.
And Zeke lands the headshot with a ghost finally. It seems like Dinks has just been sending those bullets either side of him. Trying to cosplay Neo, but unfortunately ends up coming a cropper.
Yeah, that wasn't necessarily the best. And it was a less fast pistol round than last time. ACEND putting another round on the board for themselves, however, takes them nicely. Just a bit more of a comfortable lead. And, you know, think back to Breeze. Everything was looking even. Everything was looking equal, and then suddenly ACEND started running off with a ton of rounds. Now, I still don't necessarily expect that to be the case here on ICEBOX, just because NAVI have a lot more experience. It's one of their best maps, if not their best map. You know, and pistol rounds be pistol rounds, bro.
They do be pistoling, so I've heard. Some people don't think it be like it is, but it do. CNED back on to the Marshal. The Bolty.
Oh, they gotta be aware of Starzo, dude.
Oh.
This is something that ACEND do a lot. They will push up aggressively on mid if it's not being watched.
Allowed up onto the A site for now, but that's the spike dropped. Up on high, Bone Cold able to take it down, and there's the spray on the crossfire as the wall's gonna fall. Dinks is gonna go down. Bone Cold knows there's a player here, and they'll turn the corner. Disciplined on the timing. 1 goes down for them, but they're able to find everything they need. 2 players go down for ACEND, but they're now on 9 rounds. Geo ever closer to a victory here. Of course, a victory on ICEBOX means that they would be able to win the match, and NAVI would go down to the lower bracket.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, this is not what I want to see. Not because I have a bias on who wins. I don't really care who wins, necessarily. But after what we saw yesterday and the expectations of this game, I want it to go on to a map 3. I don't want it to end here. So, come on, NAVI. Do it for me. Do it for the lads. It is a really, really nice round there from ACEND, however. I don't know, because, you know, on Breeze, once NAVI got to that 3rd round of the second half and they actually had some rifles, that's when they started to put rounds on the board. So maybe we're going to see the same thing here now that they actually have the money for that.
Rounds, indeed, what they need right now. Racking them up a little bit harder, though, when you're in the face of ACEND. Arguably the best team in Europe right now. I mean, I know Lothar might give us some talk about how G2 is doing better, but from what I'm seeing, ACEND putting up a formidable performance, moving through, pretty coordinated. Around the corner, though, NAVI finds Starkso, looks for the spray down as well towards mid. 5 bullets, have to fall back. Don't want to be caught if the Viper wall falls. Cloud finds a second as Killers is going to go down. Spike yet to be planted, but it's only a matter of time. Zeke taken down on the flank as well, and the threats that ACEND have just falling thick and fast. CNED last standing, dashes back, and might just want to save here.
Yeah, I mean, I suspect that's what they're going to go for. I really like the way that NAVI actually did quite a lot to obscure lines of sight in that round, because it's not even a huge thing, but, you know, like using the cloudburst in the way that they did, for example, kind of forced ACEND to try and take angles from a different way. And NAVI knew what options they had, and they met them with the barrel of their gun. Now, CNED can get a kill, because I don't think Dinks was ready for him to come around. I mean, it's nice he can pick up a Vandal from it, but, I mean, he's not going to win the round.
You've said it now, Gio.
Yes, I was gonna say he could, I suppose, in theory, but no.
I think with the amount of time left, I don't think it was possible to win those trades and get to the spike and defuse. So maybe you were technically right, but he could have done a whole heck of a lot more. Either way, Vandal is going to be taken away. 9-6, ACEND still in the lead. And now we're into the full rifle rounds. For the moment, Killers, no armor to speak of. No creds either, so they are just going to have to try and figure out what they can do there. Potentially move him towards the back. Looks like they're going to try and play him in the mid. for those retakes once the armor's already been taken down. CNED looks for that aggressive play. SSK was doing it last time around over on A. And this time around, CNED tries to answer, but really not going to have too much luck. Looking out for that owl drone, goes on up high, gets the dart in and falls back. Zeke catches SSK, getting a little bit too aggy there. Those shenanigans will not go unnoticed. CNED now back up to face, but Cloud wins the trade. However, it's Zeke still to come back on in. In comes the lockdown to try and move on through. But ACEND gonna try and stay passive. Arch, though, not gonna let Sleeping Dogs lie. Sprays down 2 easy lineups. And NAVI move in.
Again, just be aware of Bone Cold coming in from behind, because while they've cleared up what they need to, they still just have to be vigilant. Spike going down. It will be hard for ACEND to be able to make this one work, given that there's only 2 of them left. Both have 25 armor, not tons of utility. I mean, Bone Cold doesn't even have a life anymore. So it's all down to Strazo. It's not really written out in his favor. Trying to get an idea of where some of these players from NAVI are. Maybe he can collect a kill on the way out, but I mean, the likelihood of it is really low now, especially you consider this poison orb. You have the nano swarm that was put there as well. Really, there's not much he can do. He's just got to back out.
There was an operator on the floor somewhere, I believe, from CNED, but they're just going to fade away. Save the Vandal, keep that one in tow. Unlikely that they're going to be able to fully invest into this next round, but NAVI looking pretty good. You see maybe why they picked ICEBOX here on their attack.
Well, they've got to even out the rounds first, but I think when you consider the wins that they've just had, like what boost in their economy that's going to give them, then yeah, the next couple of rounds you would assume are going to lean more heavily into their favor. You have a look at what ACEND can bring right now. They don't have a ton of money to spend. 3 of their players are holding onto pistols. Now, of course, CNED's going to be able to use the Blade Storm, so that's an option for him, but it's by no means a strong buy for ACEND in this round.
And you've got that Spectre and Vandal, but yeah, you're right. This is just trying to play on the linchpin. NAVI moving straight on through mid. Like a hot knife through butter. SSK moving on in. First to face, but it's 2 to go down. And shooting gallery. Archstow on the ball. Will be able to get the double spray yet again towards the back of A. And with that, the spike moves over towards the site. Drops it over the teammate to maintain that Viper's pit. And now what do ACEND do? They need to try and move around the edges here. CNED wants to challenge. Pokes in. Actually spots the barrel. Oh, he knows where Arch is now. Starkso up on high as the snake bite to try and slow things down. CNED trying to scan for anyone in the way, as the Vandal did get picked up in the meantime. Actually fairly even on weaponry right now. The NAVI need to be careful, but time is on their side. Spray down is there, and that's going to drop the Viper pit as well, as Arch is going to fall. Cloud on the back, looking for a flank that is not going to come, or in fact has already managed to move on through. Dinks. We're going to try and challenge here. Zeke finds first, and now NAVI need to get the sprays. Cloud looked good for a third, but not quite going to be able to manage it. Half defused already, and ACEND come back. Double digits, 10-7.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really hugely disappointing round there for NAVI, given the fact that the entire point of that Viper's Pit, combined with the snake bite that they put down, was to prevent ACEND from being able to move in to take a post plant, right? And it didn't actually impede them that much. They didn't have to come round from the attacker side. They didn't really have to change anything about the way they were going about it. In fact, they managed to pick up weapons, which they now don't have to buy, came in and had the, superior positioning because it's the regular default post plant positioning, and they got the kills for it, so they get a load of ult points. I mean, that's not the way NAVI were hoping things would go.
Bone Cold dropping that Viper's Pit early onto A, meaning that ACEND can stack onto this B site and ready and waiting to receive NAVI. Hunter's Fury going to be invested on the defense by Killers. Looking to try and tag anyone out. SSK wins the trade against Zeke, but position given away against the Hunter's Fury will land a tag. However, the heals can come through, and it's not going to be that devastating. An early peek onto Zeke will win that one out for NAVI, but still going to be almost impossible to get over towards that A site with the Viper's Pit, unless, of course, Bone Cold opts to leave.
See where their decision-making takes them here. They're very naturally being cautious of mid. As I said just a few rounds ago, it's something that Ace very characteristically do, is have quite aggressive pushes up there when they're on the defense. So really unsurprising that Na'Vi are trying to be diligent in checking that area. Now, using the recon dart, they can't see anything with it.
30
Bone Cold
seconds
has left the area, so Na'Vi could have an opportunity, but it won't take long for him to commute back.
Look at SSK. He's baited everybody from Ascend to move on through. Will go down, sure, but Bone Cold now with a lot to do will be able to find one. Arch falls, and now the game is given away. The spike getting planted, and now the rotates can come through. 3 versus 4 on this retake, but there's the res to bring Arch back into the fray. They don't have the Viper's Pit to hold for the post plant. CNED trying to turn the corner around on the high ground. Spots the turret, will take it down, and swings out wide for Bone Cold. Gets taken down by Dinks. The defuse tapped, and Starkso finds Na'Vi. Cloud will fall, and now up on high. Starkso caught in the tube. Dinks finds a third, and a really heads-up rotation set from Na'Vi. They move into the A site, and with minimal resistance, they find a round.
Yeah, very nicely played there by Na'Vi, and so much of that does come down to SSK, as you say, because he stayed all the way over on the B side. His presence could act as a bait that gave Na'Vi the time that they needed. Even though Bone Cold was on his way back into the A site, he would have seen them eventually. Even just seconds, 1-2 seconds, can change the outcome and change the time that you need in order to find success in those situations. And for Na'Vi, it absolutely worked.
But for how much longer? 10-8 on the half so far. This is the second half. Of course, Ascend on match point, sorry, in the map score right now. So 3 more rounds stand between them and moving forwards in the bracket.
No weapons, though.
Very minimal weapons, you're right. Maybe this isn't the round for them. They spot one out. Move over towards the B site, potentially walking right into the open arms of Ascend, who are able to find one, but no more than that for now. SSK and Arch find one apiece. Bone Cold finds Dino as well. The spike does get dropped. Pretty out in the open. Bone Cold traded. But this is a lot of economic damage being done right now by Ascend. That's generally how I characterize their they're not full buy rounds. They always manage to get some sort of economic damage in, and it's a credit to them.
Spike planted.
Zeke biding time, playing slow around the corner, waiting for the wall, which will fall. Here's the turret sound cue. And the shot's up on high potentially against CNED, or Zeke trying to bait them out as well as he drops down, and 2 players fall very, very quickly. Na'Vi pick up a 9th, ever closer to drawing score lines with Ascend.
That was really good reaction at the end there as well, because had CNED just jumped down maybe a millisecond before or whatever, you know, that could have swung the way of Ascend just because of the way those 2 players were positioned, but still went over to Na'Vi, and now Ascend actually have some money, so once again they can buy up on the weapons. And the fact that they were just playing with pistols on that last round certainly contributed to the fact that they didn't win it. So, you know, you can't put it all on this amazing round from Na'Vi. They literally had nothing. And now once again, CNED, he's got the operator back. We haven't seen it for quite a few rounds, but we obviously know what devastation it can cause. So Na'Vi should be concerned.
Guns out. But the sun yet to shine on this comeback tour for Ascend. Na'Vi move in yet again to the A site. Coming up against stiffer competition. Cloudburst to cover the cross. Spray downs into the wall to try and break the cover. Bone Cold spots a player going up. They think they know it's going to be planted up high. And the snakebite to send it back. This is a lot of time that's being used and allowing Ascend to move around the map. You can see Zeke moving into an off angle and has covered off that cross. They know that everyone's locked into this position. And they're waiting for them to move back.
Are they going to do this again? Okay, no. I was wondering if they were going to back out the B side and leave SSK there once again, but no, they're not. They're committing here.
For now, anyway, I mean, they've got 30 seconds. It's going to be very difficult to make anything happen. A Hunter's Fury to isolate some of these defensive positions, but CNED over the top, traded it off. Arch finds 2. This guy is king of the double spray down. Looks for a third as well, but it's Zeke to find Dino, and Bone Cold to get one more. Bone Cold finally taken down, and now it's Zeke with it all to do. Can only find one, and Cloud seals the deal. We're up to 10-10.
This is a game. I knew that the second half of this map wasn't going to be like Breeze, and I'm so glad that it is that way. Because, you know, what is it? If NAVI win this map, then we go to, is it ACEND? Yep, the decider is ACEND. If NAVI win here on ICEBOX. And again, I think that would be a really interesting map to see as well, because it's not a map that's necessarily hated by either of these two teams. So we wouldn't have it be quite so one-sided as I think Breeze would be. And we're seeing what can happen when these two teams can really come head-to-head on a map that they both like. It can be very close.
ACEND, again, need to limit the economy here on NAVI. If they win, they need to be able to win the next round, because if they don't, that's almost done and dusted on the game. It'll be very difficult to come back from losing this next rifle. The more damage you can do here, the more you're going to limit NAVI in this next round, which is really what they're playing for here. SSK leads the charge for NAVI. They've got a player up top as well. But ACEND yet to face. There's a double flank coming in. Plants coming on through. They have got that Viper's Pit available, but CNED goes down. So does Zeke. And ACEND needed more damage than this, with killers falling as well. It's all on the flank players. As Bone Cold turns the corner, gets some damage, but only one shot lands. Dinks holds for the shoulder and plays up close afterwards. Scanned out, knows that he's being pushed back, and Dinks now playing close will be able to get the shot. Now it's just Starkso playing for ACEND. And no economic damage done here, Gio. This is really, really shaky right now for ACEND.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what was that about ACEND wanting to put a dent into Navi's economy? Because I don't see any of that. Every single player from Navi survived. They've been able to gain some money. They've been able to gain some ultimate points as well. They got the spike down. They did everything that you would want in your ideal round. And ACEND just had no answer to that. They couldn't do anything against it, really. And, you know, we've just seen ACEND taking a tactical timeout here. Again, it's another one of those instances where you think, yeah, I totally understand that. You know, once again, they have to decide where are they going to be putting their money. It looks like that operator's going to be invested back into alongside the rifles too. But the question you have at this point in the game is, if this goes wrong and NAVI get onto round number 12, ACEND aren't going to have the money to do that again. So they would be coming into what would, in theory, be map point on very limited resources. And that's a big risk to take.
Certainly is. It's not the sort of risk you want to be faced with. It's not the choice that you want to have to make. But is there a good choice here, Gio? I feel like, you know, this is the situation where you're damned if you do and damned if you don't in these economic situations. But there's a player who can use that operator. It's going to be CNED, already able to get a collateral so far on the round. And I want to talk a little bit about Zeke just quickly, because I feel like this Reyna just hasn't had the impact that maybe ACEND would have wanted it to. The 2-level Viper Pit gonna block off that A site almost entirely here as NAVI queue up to try and push through it.
Yeah, it's an interesting one about the Reyna. This is what they like to play. And here's the lockdown coming out from NAVI. Is it going to push the defenders back, though? I mean, that Viper's Pit means that they also have their own impedance, but they are getting out the way, pushing back towards that perimeter, and it's allowing NAVI to pass through. There's the kill coming in from Arch, and this could be where things start to come in.
Zeke needs to stand up into the Cloudburst, gets the spray. CNED's there as well with the operator to try and chime in to boot. Starkso will find another, and now it's just Cloud. They were able to take down the Viper's Pit, but at what cost? Cloud now going low, gets spotted out, gets scanned twice there by the recon bolt. Last player standing in a 1 versus 4. Keep the guns low, keep them going for the challenges. Sprays, taps around the corner, wants to go for the challenge. Look at that sliver peek. Trying to get anything he can done. Gets darted out though, position known. Waits for the peek, gets one but no more. A lot of damage done, however, and the economic limitations will come to bear against ACEND.
Well, the risk paid off for ACEND. They are going to be breathing a sigh of relief as a direct result, knowing how it could have been had that round not gone their way. You know, the lockdown definitely mitigates a lot of the pressure that the Viper's Pit can apply onto the attackers. But I think the thing that you also have to consider is those attackers are going to take that opportunity to move in through the Viper's Pit. And then what? You find yourself in a very limited space, and it's a space that you can be aggressed upon, and that's what ACEND did. They took advantage of that scenario, and for it, they took a round. Now is NAVI's time to take their own tactical timeout. Now, they're in a position where they do have, you know, they have the money, they can make up for what they just lost. They're pretty much buying into all of their utility, all of their armor. They're not leaving anything off the board for this round. But other than the Blade Storm, they're not really that close to any kind of ultimate. So unless Dino gets a couple of kills here, you're not going to have a res available. You're not really going to have anything else that can facilitate the push that you're looking to make. So be that a Viper's Pit, be that a lockdown, be that a Hunter's Fury, whatever it might be. Meanwhile, on the other side of things from Ascend, they actually do have that. They have that prowess behind them. So it's very unlikely that we'll see the Blade Storm, I think, from CNED, given that he's still holding on to the Operator and would most likely die with it in hand, I think. But the res on Starzo, I think, is something to be concerned about if you're Na'Vi.
Dink's looking to move forwards, control for those sneaky little off angles. No one playing aggressive on A, leaving the Viper basically alone. And Ascend seem to have potentially read something here. They stacked B just a little bit, but now you can see they're moving players away, leaving CNED solo with this Operator. Obviously, Jet heavily mobile in these scenarios, so can take these forward positions. And Na'Vi are playing it slow.
I don't really blame them. They don't have the room to screw this up. Now, it's an interesting Viper's Wall that's been placed here by the defenders because it cuts off the angle into mid, which means that Na'Vi can't see if there is somebody there. CNED's going to back out slightly after aiming to take that shot, and the recon dart's going to give a bunch of information about the location of the attackers, and there won't be any provided in return because of the position of the Cloudburst.
Oh, beautiful shot from CNED. Just peeks around the corner. Cloudburst right on top of the recon bolt. And refaces as well. Drawing a lot of players over towards the A site. Na'Vi now moving strong and fast over towards this A. Already leading the charge. It stinks, but they're 4 players, so they are down 1. Zeke, first to face, needs to try and challenge, needs to get at least 1 kill, at least some sort of presence. Don't know if they know that a player has turned the corner, but moving back in might have just afforded them an opening for Ascend to come back through. 1 player goes down. CNED spots another. Bone Cold, able to rack up yet 1 more, and Cloud now last standing yet again. 1 shot's good, but 2 shots too much. And CNED gets a triple to bring Ascend to match point.
I mean, Ascend just ate Na'Vi alive in that round. That was really disgusting. It was so difficult for Na'Vi to even try and push into B. They had no choice but to go to A pretty much. And if you're Ascend, you know that. You can read into it. So you just go follow, you know, make your little, like, meander over and just clean up with them. So really difficult now because Ascend are potentially about to win this entire game. If they take this next round, they continue on through the upper bracket, Na'Vi are knocked down into the lowers, we do not see a third map.
1 round away. Potential for overtime. It's a full gun round for both teams. They will know where the player is. They dart out the turret. And they have some intel, but the spike moving up for Na'Vi. They're hedging a little bit, but they have moved mostly over towards the A site, and it's good to start things off. Bone Cold goes down. No Viper's Pit available for either team, so not the worst to lose. You really want to keep that res available, though. And it's in a not unresable position here. Certainly can be used to bait out. Starkso pretty close by as well.
I love that Dinks has changed the location of the turret from where he's previously been playing it. It means if anyone were to come down mid, he would see, but actually Ascend have changed their approach here. They're all going to be coming in through the top.
Double layers around the side. Here's the Hunter's Fury. The res is in as well. Bone Cold back into the fight. And it's going 1 for 2 right now as Na'Vi get the better end of the deal. Killers finds a second as well. Now it's just CNED and Killers left alive, left standing. Full HP and the Operator in hand. CNED will not go down without a fight. Will not go quietly into this. Good night. Lands the shot, but not quite around the corner there. CNED falls, and we're going to overtime.
Let's go overtime! Oh, I'm so... Yes! This ICEBOX has been... It has been a map. It has really been a map. And I am so excited to see this continue on into overtime, actually. And it makes it very frustrating, of course. If you're ACEND, you could have just brought it home in that round. And you didn't. But if you're NAVI, this is your second lease at life, you know? And who knows how many rounds of overtime this is going to go. Because especially in the second half of this game, it has been exceptionally close. Neither one of these teams has run away with rounds particularly far. So... And of course, the other thing that you have to remember about overtime is economically, you don't have those same considerations that you do in regulation time because you just come in with the same number of credits every round.
Now, ACEND up to bat towards the A site. Full on guns out now. Moving forward, CNED playing up on high, moves all the way in, but SSK gets the better end of it. NAVI with the first pick and finds the second as well. Cloud's doing work for his team to anchor A. At the back, Kilos finds one, pushes through, and Zeke gets a second. Dismiss away, and we're evens. Cloud, though, ever vigilant as Zeke finds yet another. Yet to really chime into the game, but does a lot of work here. Now we're into a 1 versus 1. Dino versus Kilos. The spike is down, and Dino actually pretty far away. Kilos won't know about it and has to be worried. Checks all the angles.
Revealing area.
Recon Bolt worried about the back. Moves through, goes for the cross. Doesn't check to the side, covered by the Recon Bolt.
I have the spike.
Instead just needs to check the back of sight. Into a plantable position, but 34 seconds left on the clock. Wants to go for the fight.
Left.
Feels like he's isolated the position and the read might just be good.
I mean,
Dino's
Dino's in a great spot here because basically his whole thing is he can just wait. He doesn't have to overexert himself, but now he's given his position away.
Not too sure about that wall. I feel like it gives Killers more time to play. More time to use it with the Recon Bolt back in effect as well. Knows that the flank isn't coming. Needs to be worried about the high ground. Won't have checked it. Oh, the timing on this one. Giving them the old do-si-do, the rope-a-dope. But doesn't check up and instead goes down. Killers will go to the grave, and Dino able to pick up a crucial round for NAVI.
It was a little bit touch and go, I think, after the spike had been planted, just because there was a little bit of time where Killers had the opportunity to pretty much go wherever he wanted, but overall, I'm pretty happy with the way that Dino decided to play that and not try and get too aggressive, not peek when he didn't need to, because that would have given Kilos information that he didn't previously have. And it just meant he was always going to get the sound cue when the spike went down. He was always going to then find the information that he needed. And the way that he actually played around Kilos' positioning and the route that he knew he would take once that slow orb had gone down was very smart. So I think that was a good play there by Dino.
Earned the round for NAVI. Now it's on ACEND to answer back on their defense. NAVI move towards this A site, historically successful for them in this match. They want to go for one last ride. Bone Cold, though, holding by the Viper wall. We'll drop it down and play a little bit safer. Checks the corner. Good discipline. ACEND not giving an inch. They've allowed NAVI all the way up, but how much further can they go?
Plant the spike.
It always gets so slow and patient between these two teams when things start getting hard. Oh my god, Bone Cold just going straight in. SSK the first one to fall. There's some information that's been gathered as well. These attackers are potentially going to find themselves seen. ACEND certainly aren't afraid to get aggressive when they need to, but again, it's all become a little bit static as they just wait and don't want to over-aggress.
Nerves potentially setting in here, but around the corner, Starkso gets a beautiful lineup, triples it up as well, and looks for a fourth, finds it, up top, it's a 4K. Starkso rampaging out of the A site.
All right, that's one way to do it. 13-13, no closer to knowing who it is who's going to be taking this map. Wow, what a way to do it as well. Because, you know, the first two victims clearly didn't know where he was, but the second two did. They were expecting him, and he still brought them down. Pretty brutal there. This time, oh, okay, we've got a tactical timeout coming from NAVI. So we've seen a lot of these today, which is understandable. I was also gonna just point out the fact that ostensibly CNED has decided to forego a little bit of utility and armor, instead invest into the operator, which is something that he didn't do on ACEND's first overtime attack round, which was the round that NAVI won. So, bit of a change up there from ACEND. It is going to make him vulnerable, for sure. But I guess they're just, you know, leaning into the investment into, you know, what can he actually physically do with the operator? And the answer to that, we know, is quite a lot.
Miracles, I think, is probably an apt description of the work that he's able to put in. Moving like water and certainly making NAVI wine for CNED. They are going to mount up yet again. A site seems to be the focus on these overtime rounds. SSK, he's played these cheeky angles before, and the fact that he's flown under this radar is absolutely incredible. Spots 1, 2, and that's all he needed to do. Gets away with it as well. Scot-free. Beautiful start. And what more can NAVI do? They take down SSK. ACEND look to try and answer back now. They've managed to get a little bit of an opening, and they find Dinks as well. At the back of sight, they spotted Cloud, who gets one but taken down as well. Traded out. Arch falls away. And now 2 versus 2 into the post plant. Starkso and Zeke both going to be pretty close here. I think it was Starkso who actually got that plant, so Empress not available. Neither is that Rez. Retake all too slow coming at the back here for Dino.
I mean, we've seen what Dino and Arch can do, but especially Dino, you know, he really comes out in some of these clutch situations, but yeah, naturally not ideal. Arch has actually just spotted his enemy, and all right then. NAVI take the round, even though for part of that round, I really thought that was going to go towards ACEND. It was really unfortunate, actually, that, you know, SSK had these really clean 2 opening kills, didn't decide to go for the third, smart decision, and then as soon as his next engagement came along, it was a bit messy, and that's when I thought, is this going to be where it falls for NAVI in this round? But, of course, at the end there, really nicely done by those last 2 players of NAVI, and once again, that's going to put them on that point. And I'm starting to get to this point, John, where I feel like maybe the overtime script is just whoever is on defense is going to win. Which doesn't get us any closer to an answer.
I think, well, as we well know, the only way to get that answer is to wait and see. ACEND, though, potentially with their own sneaky beaky angles, looks for one dismiss around the corner as well, but it's traded. A really good start, but CNED puts a stop to that. No more shenanigans. No more tomfoolery. No rumpy-pumpy. Over towards the A-long. They have to fall away.
Going to be going a different way here on RV as they start to head up mid. But notice how there are defenders on pretty much all points of the map. They can come from basically any angle that they would like, or set themselves up wherever they would like. Dino's going to be getting a kill there onto CNED. That could be particularly valuable as they start to flood into kitchen. But do they know about Keyless? The potential for him to maybe get 1 or even 2. He doesn't actually bring down the barrier orb in time.
Not quite, but Zeke able to find 1 onto Dinks. Looks for the dismiss, straight on through, triple kill, can't quite find the 4th. An Arch now left in a 1 versus 2. Looking to reposition here, has the spike in tow, but gets spotted out. And Keyless seals the deal. We're going even further beyond Geo. ACEND 14-14.
My hypothesis stands. If you're on defense, you're going to win the round.
Statistically, you're not wrong.
Yeah. So basically what it's going to take is just for one of these 2 teams to really up their game on their attack. And now that I've said that, it could be that ACEND just go and blitz through this attacking round. But, you know, again, I suppose we're yet to find out if that's to be the case. Again, you know, I reiterate the fact that the economy doesn't really change much. CNED's going to be bringing a Vandal instead of the Operator this time. No one has any ultimates. So there isn't anything hugely influential here that's different to previous rounds.
Moving in, NAVI up high. SSK not able to get the damage he was last time around. They were able to get through to the site as well with only 3. And they move on in. The wall is invested. They put it on down. The bolts are going, but SSK finally finds CNED. Around the side, they need to trade. They need to get an answer here, and Zeeks will do just that. Finds 2. Bone Cold with another, and Starkso with yet more. Dino now left in a 1 versus 2. No res, and has to be worried here. Moves up on high, tries to turn the corner. The spike yet to get planted, spotted out, and wide swing from Bone Cold to be able to get the headshot. 15-14, and the defensive curse is broken. Ascend with an attacking win. Now it's their turn to try and take things home, and Geo, they are on match point.
This puts a lot of pressure onto Na'Vi right now, because this is, of course, not the first match point that Na'Vi have faced. But it is the first time that Ascend have taken one of these overtime attacking rounds, which, yes, does break that pattern that we kind of joked about, but it is I would say, a poignant truth, right? Because Na'Vi now have to meet them at that if they are to hope to take this through into map number 3.
Well, ride out and meet them. Sally forth, SSK, channeling the charge of Aragon and Thed and King. Will be able to find an opening in the mid, but will they be able to look to the east? Gandalf yet to appear.
I don't... Stop making Lord of the Rings.
I will not.
I don't understand them.
That sounds more like a you problem than a me problem, I'll be honest. In this situation, it's all an Ascend problem. They're down a player. They have to flex, have to spread themselves thin here.
Well, pretty much all of Na'Vi is sticking together. They've still got Dinks over towards A. His turret is there. Now, if Bone Cold gets too far forward here, he could find himself getting caught in an altercation. As for which way that's going to go, that's something else. But the alarm bot is going to get triggered. And there's the opportunity for Dinks to take the shot, and he fails at getting the kill.
Crucial pick there for Bone Cold, able to open up and control that mid. No flanks potential here. They try and move back. CNED locks it onto Arch. The spike has been planted in the meantime. SSK looks for the spray. Racks up 2 as well. It's a triple kill on the round. Knives out, up high, right click. It's good. And 4 kills now found. Looks for the 5th, an ace to try and keep them going. And it's Na'Vi to even things out as Dino gets the final. It's 15-15 Geo. We're on round 31.
I just sat down thinking that was it. I sat down, and then as soon as I sat down, SSK just got all of those kills. Oh my god, it's never gonna end. What is this game? By the way, can we also let's just also go back on the fact that, and this came up quite a bit yesterday when Na'Vi were playing against Liquid, that was Na'Vi's first time playing a European team. Now, this is their second time, except this is arguably the best European team. So, what the hell?
What the hell? Come on, guys. Be reasonable. Na'Vi, come on. John Allen predicted Na'Vi to win on the predictions in Twitch chat yesterday, by the way. Just saying. Claim that one. Get all the street cred for it, whatever that's worth. But I just don't think that they're going to be in it to try and take down Ascend. Even if they're able to win here on ICEBOX, it's going to be a tricky road. They've still got a whole extra map to play after this one.
So.
Certainly would be, but they've got to get there. 2-round difference needed. SSK holding with the operator, looks for the shots. Drawn up high, and instead it's down low. He needs to be worried about Cloud. Covers the off angle, but CNED's managed to get the high ground. Starkso's there as well. Bone Cold to rally in. The wall not there in time, but Arch will hold strong for the push. CNED will go down in 3 versus 3 into the post plant here. No ults online, as is the way for overtime. And they're into the post plant.
Na'Vi, they're coming around from both sides though. Look, things coming all the way around from the bottom. Arch gets taken down, though. That puts them in the man disadvantage. And Ascend are looking so much healthier here. They know that the options Na'Vi have to come back in are severely limited. And look, Dino's just been stopped now that the wall's gone back up. Time is ticking down. Dinks gets a kill, but Dino to be the next one to fall means it's all on Dinks.
And he's just going to drop the Viper's Pit. Will get felled, though, and it's now 1 versus 2. But unfortunately, dropping the Viper's Pit, maybe not what they wanted. As the res comes through, they'll bring that rifle into the next round. A round found for Ascend, as they are yet again on match point here on their defensive side. Na'Vi were able to find it last time around, but that was off the back of SSK popping off. Needs to try and do it again.
Na'Vi back to fighting for their lives. They were able to, of course, get an attacking round win after Ascend did. So maybe the script's been flipped now and it's suddenly all attacking rounds, but my goodness. Now, this is where SSK, he did get a good opening kill, I believe, before from this position, but it's not really going to work for him right now. They tried to force him out with the shock dart, but Zeke's going to be the one to get the opener.
Excellent intel gathered there as well. They know there's another player further back. SSK evens the deal right now. But CNED, ever vigilant, takes down the opposing jet. And 3 players left standing. Dino, no res available. Ascend looking strong right now, but Dino may be able to get the shot here. Bone Cord will fall, but Starkzo's on the flank. And now 2 players alive for Na'Vi. This is for the game, Gio. If they go down here, they're going to lose it all and go down to the lower bracket. Whoever wins, only 1 game away from sealing their position in Berlin. But the spike planted down on the A site. Zeke falls away. Might have held the angle. Cloud evens it up. CNED still going. Starkzo's there as well. Up high. Spots the elbow. Will find one. Knows there's another player. Or should do. Certainly that there's one more lower. And Starkzo falls. A triple kill. And Ascend able to win it out. It's 2-0 against the CIS region. Na'Vi will fall. And Ascend put themselves 1 step closer to the Masters in Berlin.
Oh my god. It took 32 rounds of ICEBOX